for me, it's a very show that talks about a lot of pain, or came from a lot of pain, and I want to understand how people get to a place where it is so painful, but then come out on the other side. When you think about like the addict, imagine calling and I didn't know that was abusive. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that now like, yeah, that's abusive. I'm way more than that. You know what I mean? Even at your worst, you're even way more than that. You know what I mean? Or you're
always been way more than
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Always
so
been.
yeah, you don't think like that. Welcome to Real Talk TV. I'm your host, Darryl Buchanan. Today we start season 3. I'd like to thank all my supporters, all the people that stood with me through the first 3 seasons. Yeah, man, I'm very appreciative of that. I'd like to give a shout out to WMCT-TV, Alex, Ryan, Mike, and Matt, who make the show happen. Without them, Real Talk wouldn't be out there for you guys. I'd like to also give a shout out to the Recovery Connection. Love you guys down there, peers, staff, love you guys. If you're ever around, we have a group called Diamonds and Pearls. It's a women's group, and it meets Friday from 1 to 2:30. We also have a men's group called Boys to Men, which meets on Mondays, 1 to 2:30. I'd like to give a shout out to Recovery Exchange Peer Support Center out in Lynn, Mass. Congratulations, man. Can't wait for you guys to open. Actually, the grand opening is July 20th. From 3 to 7 p.m. The ribbon cutting's at 4 p.m. Just, love to support you guys. If there's anything that I can do on my end, just give me a call. I'm with you guys, man. And again, congratulations. I'd like to give a shout out to all those who out there are using their lives to bring hope to people who have no hope or who are in hopeless situations. I'd like to give a shout out to Air and Addiction, the Spectrum Run podcast with Lisa Blanchard and Jesse Chasen. Salute to you guys, man. And I'd like to thank everyone to continue to support the show, like the show, share the show, and please subscribe to the channel. I was reading a poetry book, a recovery poetry book a friend of mine gave to me, and it was amazing. I'd like to share that with you guys. It's called The Life of an Addict, and it's by Robert Gaglione. I met the brother at the Bridge Recovery Center out in Malden, and he came to the center to come down to the recovery center. He brought him and Tara came down, brought the book down. I've been reading it, and it's something that I want you guys to take a look at. It's called The Life of an Addict, and it's by Robert Gaglione. Thank you. And without further ado, I have a good show. Back to giving you guys real life stories, people who have really walked that path and who have came out on the other side. I enjoy those stories, and I have one today. It's a gentleman that came, a bunch of people sent me his name and like, you need to get Blakey on, you need to get Blake on. I reached out, me and his brother talked a little bit, and he's here today, man. And I'm happy to have him here. I'd like to introduce Blake Rickerson, who's a documentary filmmaker. He's a podcaster, and more than all that, he's in long-term recovery, man. Thank you for coming, brother. I appreciate you showing up. In a few words, can you just tell us who Blake Rickerson is?
Well, in a few words, that's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, let's get it.
But my name is Blake. I'm long-term recovery. Actually, August 21st of next month will be 20 years for me.
Congratulations, bro.
And I got tired, which is why I continue to, put myself out there and to make myself available where I can.
Yeah.
I'm from Boston, Mass. I lived one of those crazy lifestyles. I got caught up in it, and as a result, I lost. But I got tired of losing. So one day, I stopped, and I said, "This is it, y'all." The y'all were the people that I was running with.
Yeah.
And I said, "This is it, man. I'm done. I'm not coming back. I'm going this way. I don't know what's on the other side, but it can't be as bad as this."
Yeah.
And so it became a reality for me. And it continues to be a reality for me.
One day at a time, right?
That's right.
Good stuff. Tell me, what was your environment like growing up? For me, I grew up around that craziness. How
Well,
about you?
I grew up around the South End, Boston. There was liquor stores everywhere. There was drugs everywhere. And as a kid, I saw this stuff, prostitution, and I was curious about what this was all about. I want to know.
Yeah.
And I came to know. It all became manifest to me. And as I saw it in the home as well. And so seeing a lot of that stuff, I'm like, wow, this is what the nightlife is like. This is what it's like. And as a kid,
Bright lights,
you know,
right?
growing up in Boston, yeah, you know, and I had free passes to the movie theaters, Puritan Theater in the South End at the time, and as I got older, I listened to a lot of music, you know, and music was a motivating force for me because they were telling stories, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, where am I at in this picture?
Yeah.
You know, I want to know what this is all about. So I began to ask questions, Darryl, and a lot of questions that I asked, some of them met with closed doors. Was it meant for me to ask? Or I might not have been ready for the answer I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, you know, I ventured out. You know, I started doing drugs, man, drinking and hanging out, you know, doing the things that we do, you know, in the streets of Boston, and one thing led to another, and then things began to get heavy.
All right, we'll get to that. We're gonna get to that. You're gonna get it. We'll get to that. So, so the environment, I understand the environment. That sounds like the environment that produced me and produced some of the action behaviors in me. What type of student were you then?
You know, I was always a quiet person, but explosive. Negative or positive, I was explosive. And as a result of that, I kind of kept to myself a lot. And
in school?
And in school, you know.
Get good grades? I mean,
I was above average student.
Wow.
You know, reading, I could express myself without hesitation, but at the same time, I kept to myself. You know, and in retrospect, when I look back, there was something that was missing. There was an emptiness. You know, there were knocks at the door. I just didn't know how to respond to those knocks at the door. You know, today I know what those knocks were, which is why I'm free to express myself openly.
Got you. Appreciate that. Brother, what age did you start experiencing with drugs? You know what I mean?
Oh, man, I want to say, man, because alcohol is a drug to me, about 12, 11 years old.
The story's the same. It's crazy, yeah.
And it felt good, man.
It did, right? No, it doesn't. Until it doesn't no more.
Put me on that crazy path.
Yeah. All right, so when did it get bad?
Oh, man,
I
want to say, man, in my early 20s, I'm 58 now, so in my early 20s, I went to prison early, at 17. You know, and I knew a lot of people there, and it opened me up to this new way of life, new way of living, prison, and I was like, wow, is this what it is? You know, you go in there and it's, you know, people calling your name, you looking around like, oh man, there's so and so, there's so and so, there's so and so, you know, so that's what it became for me, and those settings. And it became a revolving door for me for a lot of years. And with the drugs came the crime. You know, with the crime came more prison time and the effect that it had on my family. And as a result of all of that, I became a monster. I became something other than what I was known to be, because I've allowed myself to be abused by the drugs, and it took me where it takes everybody who does it.
Yeah.
You know, I was losing. But no, but I never lost hope. There was always something inside of me that says, you know, Blake, one day this is going to be over and you're going to be that person. Yeah. You know, it was just there lying dormant. You know, so there was that guiding light that was there, despite the fact that I was walking in the midst of darkness. And one day this is all going to be over for you. And you're going to, oh, yes, it was there. I talked to myself all the time about certain things, man. It's like, wow, man, I see people, I see the signs. I just wasn't ready to step up and grab hold of those signs, you know. But when I did that day, 8/21/3, I said, man, I'm done. This is it. I'm gonna move on with my life, and I'm gonna make something of myself. Nobody's gonna tell me no.
Got you. So what was the experience like, you know, when you initially started getting clean? What was the experience to go through detox?
Oh, man, I went through detox. You know, I went through one detox, one program, and
one.
I went from this to this to this. I just kept progressing, you know, and along the way to progression, I would listen to people make excuses about why they can't. I'm like, not me. It's gonna be why I can and why I will and why I continue to.
So when you was done.
Listen, the summons are writ, the seal of approval, this is it. And man, and that's my attitude, man. You know, No more. Something else has to give. And it came. It was there.
Okay. Tell me one of the strategies that you use to deal with the life's challenges after you recognize that you had a problem, you decided to do something about it. What were the challenges? What challenged you?
Well, first of all, the biggest challenge was the fear itself.
Okay.
That was the biggest challenge right
Gotcha.
there. Okay, I know there's a problem. I know I have to do something about it, but how do I? So I had to look around and step outside my comfort zone and start paying attention to the signs or the people that were, giving me suggestions and things like that. And I landed in a program. And that program, I still drive by to this day as a memory of, like, I remember when I was there.
Wow.
I remember some of those people are still in my life today. And we laugh when we look back, like, Blake, remember when you used to say this? I still do. Remember when you used to be like, yeah, whatever? In some cases, still like, yeah, whatever. But I maintain that momentum that you can. A lot of times, people give up on themselves because they don't feel like there is no hope. That's where somebody like me steps and says, yes, there is. Let me get in that hole and show you how I came out of it.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So can you tell me one of the major milestones in your recovery?
One of the major milestones in my recovery was when I got a year clean. I remember getting a year clean, and I called my mother as the first person I thought about. I said, it's a year. She was like, damn, a year already? You know what she said to me? You better stay. Wow. That's what she said to me. You better stay. I don't know what that program is or what it's doing for you, but if you got a year, you better stay. And you know what? I've been here ever since, and I ain't going nowhere.
Good stuff, bro.
I'm here for it.
Ain't that's a good feeling. Let me ask you another question. What role does spirituality? One thing I do know about you, your food that you put on, you eat well. People talk about, your peace. They talk about how you influence them. So I want to know how does spirituality and mindfulness play in your recovery, in your life as a whole?
Well, it's a value system. I noticed that ever since social media became prevalent in my life, it was fun in the beginning. It still is fun, but I also know that there's some serious stuff going on too with me, and I need to be mindful of that. So the spiritual manifestations came in a form of people, and some of these people are no longer with us, who would always say to me, Blake, one day you're going to be hell on some people, you're going to be love for some others. And I've seen the manifestation of that in so many ways. So spirituality is not something that I run from. It's not something that I play peekaboo with. It's simple. I don't look at it like a task. It's a simple reality that I put myself first. I move to a different beat, and that momentum has allowed me to be a little bit freer than I were, and for other people to latch on to that, because for me, it's always been about an attraction. I don't promote nothing.
Gotcha.
I share what I share, I say what I say, and I put a period on it. I mean what I say. And sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. And a lot of times, because I know what it's like to be fearful of situations. And so when I put myself in that situation, I says, I'm always going to be open to people. Sometimes they might not understand what I'm saying or might not care to understand, but that's all right. Because I don't put nobody on that pedestal any damn way. They don't nobody belong there. Yeah. So I'm grateful that spiritual manifestation has always been there and always been like a whisper. Like a whisper, something silent. And you sitting by yourself one day, that light bulb that we talk about goes off. It's like, damn, here's another sign, Blake. You look around like, I got to talk to somebody about this. I got to talk to somebody. I got to tell somebody. I got to share this because it feels good. And it ain't no good if you ain't sharing it with nobody.
100%. Good stuff. Tell me some of the barriers that, you see that prevent people who are seeking treatment. What are some of the barriers that are out there?
Well, that kind of goes into the other thing I was thinking about that we were talking about. But I think a lot of the barriers are people themselves. I think a lot of times people themselves, man, are just so scared to step outside, man. Step
You think
outside.
self-stigmatizing?
Yes, self-stigmatizing. Oh, I can't do this. Why? Oh, what they're gonna think. Never, I can't say what I usually say, but never mind what they think.
Yeah.
What do you think? You gotta start putting yourself first. And I'm quick to tell people that because this this fear that we have behind what other people think, and the whole emotional and psychological effect that has on us. I'm like, I'm here. If you say, hey Blake, man, this is what's happening. Can you help me? I'm already here.
I'm already.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Trust it. Because the one thing I learned about people is if someone depends on you to do something, you need to get that done. Because by getting that done, you give them hope. You give them connection that, wow, that guy, he means what he says. That makes them feel comfortable. So as far as people do a self-stigmatizing to themselves, I mean, we got all the information that's out there. It's out there. Go get it. Stop waiting, looking to your right and looking to your left to see who else is getting it. Get yours.
Get yours. Yeah, it is about you. That self-love. I always put self-love
first.
first.
Yeah, man, you got to.
Yeah, we do that in the men's group where we talk about, it's all about learning to love ourselves, man. I think we beat ourselves up so much, and there's so much self-hate. In my life was so much self-hate. When I first came in, they was telling me that I had to take care of the person that I hated. Which was me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
When I
that
first
ninth
came in,
letter alphabet, boy, it's, all of a sudden, everywhere you look, you see you, it's like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Maybe they was telling me something that I needed to see.
Yeah. And people that tell you the truth about, I like that. I can accept the truth. Before I can accept the truth. Because people that tell you the truth are just keeping it real with you, man. And they're giving you the right advice, right information. Can you have some? I know you have some success stories that you can tell, or positive outcomes that you've witnessed, not only in your life, but have you witnessed in this whole process?
Well, I can say that.
And I'm not talking about success as far as whatever, however you term it, but I'm just like you seeing people transform their lives.
I was just getting ready to say the transformation of other people's lives as a result of whatever that spark was. That caused them to go from this to this. And because I've been here for a little while and I can see it in other people, and the only thing that I say to them is thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, which is enough, because that's telling them that you're being watched. And we all watch one another. We watch our success stories and we watch the negative stories, but we're being watched. We watch one another. And I try not to get caught up in a lot of that other stuff because it's stuff. That's gonna fall anyway. So when I see people that are doing things like one of the people you mentioned about the book, when he messaged me, man, I'm saying go for it. Go for it, right? Put it out there.
Good, brother,
make that a reality for you, because what's it do? Boost your self-esteem.
Exactly.
And people that really care are gonna be there anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. You know what I mean? When brothers are doing stuff like that, they reach out, I 100% will do whatever I can. You know what I mean? It's a good brother. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let me ask you 2 questions, and then I want to get into some of your work. What is the one thing you do daily for your recovery and for your life? One thing that you do daily.
Meditation.
Big on that?
Meditation is big for me in the mornings. It has a lot to do with the fact that I work out continuously. And so I give myself 7 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes, just silence. I don't fight what comes to mind. That's the worst thing you can do. I just let it come. And before you know it, it's like nothing comes but that silence. And that's my emotional escape from the daily rituals of life. So when I walk into a situation, it's like, okay, I go on about my business and I do my thing, and I try to be influential with others, because I'll randomly reach out to people. And you'll get used to that. You're like, oh, it's Blake. It's Blake.
Hey, good morning, brother Darryl. I'm like, all right.
How you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, that's
Look
what's
to
up.
your left.
No, that's what's up. And I appreciate all that. You know what I mean? Let me ask you other questions off. Do you believe in all pathways? And the reason why I say that is we know that the recovery is moving. It's not just, when I first came through, and I remember first hearing it was in Walpole, I just heard 1 or 2 ways that you can do this thing. And now today it's just all pathways. I kind of like conform to that because I got my thing was a mix of everything that keeps me clean or keeps me sober one day at a time. Right. And you know what I mean, not only that, in the right state of mental health. You know what I mean? So what do you think about All Pathways?
Well, initially it was new to me. And because something's new to you, I'm not the type, you're just not gonna put something in front of my face and say, sign here, because I'm not gonna sign it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read the fine print.
Okay.
You know, and oftentimes reading the fine print means you got to pay attention to the behavior or the method that's being presented to you. And so I have to look at it a little differently than a lot of people, because a lot of people just kind of herd along like sheep, and you know, and I'm not like that. Okay. I'm going to, okay, well, what is this all about? Let me see what this is all about. So I'm open to that level of commitment or that level of growth for whatever's necessary for that person or those people for that situation. Okay. So yes, I accept it on its merit, as I do all things on their merit.
As results.
Oh, absolutely.
On the result.
Yes.
But you don't judge if a person wants to.
Oh no, man, there's too much energy into that, man. Negative judging, rightly judging, yes, but negative judging, no. That's your choice. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of times people get too caught up into, stuff without even realizing, go get it. Yeah. It's going to work for you.
Blake, as recoveries, and life has changed, but as recoveries evolve, and we're now finding out and we're allowing, it's definitely in the evolution. I'm talking about the language is changing. Like, I remember calling myself an addict, and didn't understand it was abusive. Yeah. Right? I just didn't understand those negative connotations kept me locked in. So now we have substance use disorder, like something from this. So I'm thinking that in that evolution, it's changing and a lot. I go to a certain meeting, and I say something, and they don't like they don't like me there, right? And I don't care, but it's like, yes, I'm gonna speak. I'm not gonna call myself this or that. I can call myself whatever I want, right? And you can do the same thing. But so it's just the evolution. I was just asking about that because I think it's more inclusive of what we're doing now, or where recovery's heading. The language that we're, I hear people say, I'm an addict, and it kind of stings me now. I don't say anything to the person, but it kind of stings me because I'm on the other side now. Not that I'm better than, but I just got a different information.
I think that it's all perspective. Okay. Without perspective, we all just blown in the wind. Okay. Because if you, like you asked me earlier about one thing, if you can stand there and stand on it, then stand on it. That's yours. I'm gonna respect that all the way. So there has to be perspective on our evolutionary process of things. There has to be.
Yeah, good stuff. We could put those things up. I wanted to get into Alex a little bit of his work.
Word. 1 sec. I want to fix your microphone real quick.
You've traveled to Skid Row, Kensington, Methadone, Mile. I heard all that. I've seen it. Can you just tell me a little bit about the pictures, and not just the pictures, but can you kind of like tell us the difference, if there's differences of Skid Row, Kensington, Methadone Mile? Is addiction the same, or is it different, or is it levels to the disease that you find out?
That's a strong question. It's all addiction, yet when I went to Skid Row, LA.
Is this Skid Row right here?
No, that's Kensington, Philadelphia. Yeah, it's a
You want to talk about this picture?
It's a different beast, yes.
Okay.
This park is called McPherson Park.
Okay.
And in this park, there's people having sexual acts, broad daylight.
And open.
Wide open. Like you and me can see one another. And you bumping in and looking like
crazy.
Injecting or being injected in the back because there's nowhere else to inject. And at the time, now this was last year, out there, the xylazine was a big thing. Yeah. And there, I didn't know, so I'm looking at these people like just looking. And so one of the brothers that I interviewed, he's a former felon, drug abuser, whatever, and he's telling me these people are on xylazine. Their respiratory system, their heart rate slowed, and you walk up to them, you look at them, it looks like they're dead. So what messed me up is at McPherson Park, there's a library there, and I'm in the dead center of it, looking around like jumping every time I hear something because it's a little paranoia. And I watch little kids jump over these bodies that I thought were dead. So I'm looking at the cop. The cop looks at me and does this. And I'm like, what the because it was like a painstaking moment to see that. And the little kids looked at me, and it looked at me like we're used to this.
Yeah.
7, 8 years old.
Wow.
So this is in McPherson Park, the
And that's
Kensington area.
Philadelphia.
Yes, that's Philadelphia. Yes, there's a lot of that. McPherson Park is the name. It's wide open, and because it's different from Skid Row, it's different. They're younger.
Yeah.
They're far more aggressive there, and they're a lot of younger people.
How about this one? Is that Kensington? That's still.
That's McPherson Park. That building up there is a library, straight up.
That's a library?
Yeah, that's the library. Yeah.
And all around the library.
No, all around the park. There's a section up there where little kids can go sit in and play, but that's cordoned off. But there, that was on a Saturday. That particular day was on a Saturday, and I would drive and I would walk and talk to people and walk. And a lot of the people were like just some were going to convulsion, some were out, and I would look at them and look, and they were just out for the count.
And they allow all that.
Oh, that's.
I mean, it's just. Oh, I mean, you know, authorities that just allow it.
This, to me, is sponsored by an entity. This isn't just by accident.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's like you go to what we call now mass and cast, but methadone mild.
Yeah.
And if you're not used to something like that, your jaw drops. You go there and your head starts spinning. Because you're talking, Philadelphia is one of the big, third or fourth, fifth biggest city in the country. Now this is North Philly. This here is like, Kensington is one long street. Then you got Clearwater, Clearfield. You got all these side streets. You can bump into something by accident. And one of the things that messed me up about this was every time I was walking down the street, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't see any kids. So a woman says to me, the reason why I asked her, how come I don't see any kids? She says, you know why you don't see any kids on the street? Because the parents don't like their kids to walk down and see all this stuff that you're walking through.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about people sitting there nodding off like not one or two, but 15 or 20. You got to walk in the street to walk back over to them, walk by them. You can't go into a store to go grab something. They have to get it for you because they have the plastic things up there because everybody goes in there steals. So he looked at me and says, well, what do you do? I said, what do you mean? You don't look like you're on nothing. I says, I am on something, but not that.
Yeah.
Not that. I'm on point is what I'm on. But I talk to people.
Yeah.
You mentioned about looking at them physically. Talk to people. That part's obvious. What the soreness of your hand in the mitts and stuff. But what happened? The answers are always the same. I was in a program and then COVID happened or this happened. I decided I got money and my boyfriend left, my girlfriend left, or so on and so forth. One woman I talked to, she couldn't even hold her hand up. Wow. They were so soft.
Wow. That's
couldn't
crazy.
even hold them up.
I said, so how about this one right here?
This here is in Skid Row, LA. This is
LA.
San Pedro's on the other side. I forget, this might be 6th Street. The reason why I took this picture does a disservice. Standing there, it's much bigger. The street is much bigger. This is not like Boston streets. And you see that little dog right there?
Yeah.
Well, there was a bunch of people live out there with their dogs and their cats. And these things here, this whole area, this is street on top of street on top of street on top of street. That's about 4,000. I think the lady at the shelter or the cop told me it's about 4,200 people that live in the Skid Row area. And a lot of people that have businesses there, they have to wake them up to say, hey, get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah. I watched them on trash day and I talked to the trash guy. The trash guy says to me, see all of this stuff? It's all trash. He said, go around the corner. So I walked around the corner and I looked and I saw all of this trash. I'm like, damn. Just mounds and mounds and mounds of trash. Payday. People get paid, payday. They go get their stuff out there. When they do, what they do, they don't do it in this 50, 60, 70 of them all standing there, either injecting or getting high. On San Pedro, they have a shelter, but the lady says we're understaffed. We don't have enough people. No one wants to come down here. And there's one store called the People's Market, ran by some Asian people. And even she says to me, you're not from around here. I says, you're not neither. You just do the work in the community. So she laughed, and I laughed too. Right? Yeah, that's how I am. But She says, no, really. I says, yeah, no, really. You know, so after the laugh, I says, no, I'm not. She says, where you from? I says, that's going to cost you an interview. And she was like, oh, do I have to? No, you don't, but you keep asking questions, it's going to cost you. But long story short, you know, she said she noticed me. She said, you come in here 3 or 4 times. Obviously, you're not from, she said, you're a reporter? I said, somewhat of.
Yeah.
You know, I told her what I was doing. And then, you know, we talked for maybe a good hour. And she says, it takes a lot of courage to do this because people get robbed here all the time. And I says, I got $2. Not much you gonna get from me.
Yeah, you want to get a hit, right? Let me see the next one.
Yeah, you're not getting much out of me. One camera money like that. That is on Kensington. Right around the corner is Allegheny, which is the T, what we call the T-stop. Right. I watch parents or workers, because some were wearing a mask still, coming down from that T-stop while people were injecting. They had to walk by them.
Let me ask you, so the authorities, that's like open, they don't care, they allow?
You know what I would do? I would look for where the authorities at. Going that way, going that way. I would go up in the station. I said, I gotta go. I want to see. But the scent would kill you. The scent. It just smelled like urine, defecation. You could smell the crack. Yeah, you know, just people doing their thing. And they walk around there with needles in their hat or in their ear. So I had to be mindful of that, cutting corners and stuff like that. So I'm saying, let me just watch them as they come down and talk to them. But no, they had to shut down one station because it was so filthy. Wow. Where people couldn't go up and down. Can you imagine you and your 2-year-old coming downstairs from the T station?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that area is so congested with it, it's normalized.
That's
It's
what I meant.
literally
How did it
normalized.
get to that point?
And it's, you know how they come out with different drugs and stuff like that, like this horse tranquilizer or the xylazine. Now, I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. If this is happening, what's next? If this is happening, what is going to be next? Because there's always something that's going to be next.
Yeah.
You know, like anything else.
It's being cooked right now.
Absolutely. But you know, when you come around these corners and you run into this, I'm talking, that's a long street. My hotel was a mile from there. So I keep my car down there and walk all the way with my stuff and talk to people, and they would, you know, give me the information, and yeah, you know, it's good that you're doing this. And there was the shelter there. They were having a 30th anniversary there, so I got to go in there and see what was going on there, and talk to some of the security guards there and stuff like that, you know, to see what was going on.
Wow. Let me see another one, Alex. Wow, that's unbelievable. This one here caught me, man. Yeah, this one got me.
Okay,
man.
I know him.
What was it?
I know him.
So you ran into somebody you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
I told him I was coming out there. He says, come out and interview me. I'll help you anywhere I can. That was in Sherman Oaks, California.
Okay,
and
that's
that
Cali.
was first time I had seen him. We had seen one another since 06, I think. So it was like 16 years.
Wow.
You know, and so he says, yeah, come on out, man. I'll give you the lowdown on everything. Much different from out there. Much different.
So what is the difference between all three? I mean, from our place in the Methadone Mile, Kensington.
Here we have it good. Yeah.
Fire service-wise?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I wanted to get into that, too.
Yes.
What do you mean?
What I see because I ask specific questions.
Okay.
What kind of services are out here? Oh, we got the people that pick up needles, which is one of the people I interviewed. We have people that go out and give out blankets and stuff like that. But out there, you don't see a lot of homelessness in Philly because what they do there is they go live in those raggedy buildings and where they prostitute at and get high
the abandoned buildings they take over.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, where's all the homeless people at? I'm saying to myself, something's missing from this picture. So me, I go on one of these creepy side streets and that ain't been fixed in 100 years, and I'm looking, I'm like, it's depressing to live. Now, people live on these streets. They sit on the stoops like, these stoops ain't been fixed in 65 years.
Wow.
Just everything is beat down. So I'm like, do I peek in there or do I not? I have to peek. I peeked in there. You know, you got people with the bikes that they ride in there. I'm talking rows where people do their thing at. So, and then I asked the people at the it's called Philadelphia something services. I asked them, where's all of the help at? And she looked at me and says, we are all of the help.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? She's like, where you from? I'm like, from Boston. And you know what she says? Yeah, it's different out here.
Wow.
I mean, when you're dealing with a bigger city, that means, different type of problems.
Well, you
more
would
of the
think you'd have
same
more
problems.
help, though.
And I'm like, I figured there would be more. Even the cop says, yeah, it's not like that out here. I'm like, no. He's like, no. Even LA, I watched somebody OD out there. I couldn't do what I wanted to do with it, what I was trying to do, because too many people in my way. They tapped him, making sure that he was gone, picked him up and put him in this thing, because out there it's warm out, so people just hang out, sit. So I said, I'm going to sit with them and just feel the vibe.
Sad, isn't it?
It is, man. It is. When I got back to here, I'm like, wow, we got it good.
We do, huh?
We got it good.
That was my next thing. The services. Do you think we have enough services?
Here in Boston?
Yeah, I'm talking about
New
Boston.
England?
Yeah. Do we have enough service going on? Do we need more? What is missing? I spoke to a couple brothers came on the show, and I asked them what did they think they needed most, and they were saying, we're going to talk. Yeah, I definitely 100% remember you. You took the head off 100%. But anyway, yeah. But they were saying that they need more of not the CSSs. There's a gap. There's a missing there. People are leaving not CSSs, after halfway house, that's whatever that is. They said they need that. That's not because people leave half house. They don't make it to this spot and they get caught up in there. What do you think about the services?
But you know what? Well, there's always room for improvement. One, that's an easy response. But the more harder response is, look, there's no profit in cures. There's no profit in cures. Everybody gets cured. There ain't no money being made. I'm gonna keep it 100. That needs to be said, and that's all across this country. It ain't. There's a reason why it's happening everywhere like it is. So, with that said, I'll also say that I think that there should be more services. I don't think there's enough. I know a few good people that are dedicated to this, but the rest of them are looking for a fan base. See what I'm saying? That's why I operate on the outside of a lot of this, because a lot of them are, aren't in front of the camera. They one way, off there another. Me, I'm this way, on, off, up, down. In your face. It's who I am. And because I have that type of passion, I never back down from these things that I see, that I know that are going on, because that's how you ultimately build integrity and allow other people to have value, or to resurrect that value within themselves instead of concerned about anything else. But I watch the news very little. I watch the people more. I watch the people that are caught up in active addiction. I watch the triple threat, I call it: active addiction, homelessness, and mental health. Because mental health is big, man.
Huge.
Mental health is huge, man.
It's huge.
I started abusing myself as a result of some mental health. The drugs was just an after effect.
Yeah.
But the mental health. And so I'm looking at all these young people that's 20 years old. I'm like, wait a minute. You're 20. It's too many. What happened?
Yeah.
So there's a spiritual neglect somewhere. Spiritually malnutrition is like they got hit, just got, everybody got hit with something hard. And it's like this lost generation, these lost souls, however you want to term it. But is it getting better? Oh no. See, we can look at you can see a commercial that says we're getting better, we're getting better, we're getting better.
Oh, I know that's
you
not
start
the truth.
repeating that commercial.
Exactly.
I'm the type, I'm not repeating that. I want to see some results before I get on the bandwagon, like a lot of us like to do. I'm not jumping nothing.
And we know it's not getting better. Right here this year, we have more overdoses. It's worse than it's ever been this year here. So we know it's not getting any better. I do, and I kind of like believe what you're saying. I know that at this point that there's a lot of money involved in this. There is a lot of money, you know what I mean? Whether it's
Let me
whoever
say
it is.
this.
I ain't getting none of it.
Let me share this. The same people that set this up is the same people that's trying to cure it, or so-called cure it. So you're going to tell Blake, of all people, oh yeah, Blake, come on. No, I'm not going for that ride. What I'm going to do is operate like I've been operating, because that's a part of my truth-telling experiences. If I do it any other way, then I'm being like the rest of them, following the crowd.
Yeah.
And following the crowd don't get you nowhere. You come up on the short end of the stick.
And you don't help nobody.
No, and then you're wondering what happened. Look in the mirror. You're what happened. You chose to give your principles behind following behind some crowd of people that, listen, man, you take people and they become the poster boys and the poster girls for recovery, and it's like, look what we got. No,
Yes.
that's a game. It's a game of politics. And because I see it, I'm like, yeah, I hear you. Now, I don't want what I just said to be confused with people that are genuine, and because I know a bunch of them that are going to watch this and are going to be, yeah, Blake, say what it is, which I always do.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to be able to reach out to people that are on the other side, because that's how we build, because the person that you don't see eye to eye with, but likes you because you have some principle, and says, I'd rather be around Darryl than be around the people that I grew up with, because Darryl's got principles. I know what they got. You feel me? So, you got to keep those lines open.
You got to keep on. Good stuff. Let me ask you, why is it important for you to get on the front lines, film this? Why is that important to film it? Are you just trying to keep it in the public's eye, keep the truth in, or keep it?
Well,
where are we going with
one, I'm the type to put stuff in your face.
Okay.
That's just,
Now that is in your face.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it in your face. Don't care how you respond. That's okay. I'm not. It's okay. I'm gonna put it in your face, and when you're done jumping up and down, then I tell you why I did it. Because the mature ones get it. See what I'm saying? Because this isn't meant for everyone. So the mature ones are gonna get it. Okay. And so me, I'm just that type. I'd rather be in your face, saying what's happening. That is about a sacrifice as far as I go.
Wow.
That is about me sacrificing, getting out there, sharing this information, letting people know that, hey, this isn't in Lynn, Mass. This isn't in here, there. This is all over this country. Yeah. This is like crazy. It's beyond some people's comprehension, and it's like someone has said to me, how could you just get out there? Don't that make you feel uncomfortable? No. I'm at home when I do that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm at home when I do that because it's valuable. When I go back to when I got clean and how I was, and now when I look back, I came from this. That woman that was out on Skid Row with a tent size of this wall, she says, why do you come all the way out here? Why? You must really care, huh? I said, I've been curious about this for a long time. Okay. For a long time. And I finally got an opportunity to see what this was like to be an eye and an ear witness, because there's nothing like an eye and ear witness to something.
Gotcha.
Versus, I heard about it. Well, I was actually there. Not to say I was there, but the experience of what that whole cycle is like.
Yeah. Good stuff. Just to get off this a little
Sure.
bit, we'll come back. Well, let me ask you one more question before we go off this. Do you think that most of the coverage that people show this, do you think it's just for shock value or entertainment? Because the reason why I say that is because a lot of the talk about Kensington, a lot of the talk about Skid Row, it's always, I think it's entertainment, the way it's produced or at least shown to us, or either shock value. When is it going to be about people really looking at this, right, and saying this is a tragedy? It's really a tragedy, and get on and do something about it. How do we get these people? How do we utilize that to motivate people to do something about it? And I'm not just talking about people like me and you who are on the grassroots. I'm talking about people.
Right.
How do we do that?
So here's my thing with that. You asked me about shock value. Yeah, I want to get in your face. I want you to see this. The people I want to see it are the people that do the 9 to 5 or the 10 to 6 spot, dog named Spot, and all of them. It's like, well, wait a minute. Wow, this is really going on like this? And I've been bad-mouthing the whole time. And so, yeah, it's in your neighborhood, buddy. Now what? Yeah. So for me, the people that I want to get on board, the professional. I want the professionals to see, hey, what's happening? See what's happening. Of course, the everyday person, the peer people, yes, definitely. Those are my first go-tos.
Yeah.
Those are the autos.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about those that aren't autos. Like Maya Wu, she's on my agenda.
Okay.
You know, because you're on my agenda. I'm from Boston. I know what's going on there. I kind of know more than I let on to, but I know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, so she needs to be aware of this too. And so as far as those people go, beyond the shock value, I think people are coming around because sometimes less is more. You know, sometimes less is more. People see. They might not let on to it, but people see.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just why I wanted to know how can we do this? How can we, brother? That's a tragedy when you look at it. You've seen it. I mean, I just see it through this. You've seen it and smelt it in all 5 senses. That's a tragedy.
Now watch this. Multiply that throughout the country.
I can't get that far.
Every city throughout this country has that. See what I'm saying? Now, 30 years ago, that wasn't there. Can you imagine Back to the Future? You remember that movie Back to the Future?
Yeah.
You know, but listen, 30 years ago,
No,
that was like,
no.
what? 30 years from now, here's what the country's gonna look like. And
I
you're
would never
like,
thought
no,
that. I would never believe that.
No, but here it is, in our face. There's a lot of profit going on as a result of that.
Is that why we're not doing anything really about it? I mean, we act like we do things about it. Are we still putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds?
Oh, in a lot of ways, I like that. A lot of ways, we
what I
are
mean?
still putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds. I give an example. If here's a messed up situation right here, and I build a building, a brand new building, and take that messed up situation, open that door, and put that messed up situation in that door, and say, look, public, look what I did. Vote for me. I just cleaned up the situation. But wait a minute, the back door's open. The back door's open. You feel me? The back door is wide open. So it's like Band-Aids on bullet wounds, that's the easy go-to because that fixes the immediate problem. It don't fix the bigger down the road problem. You know, the bigger down the road problem means that money's got to come from somewhere. Oh, you mean that's going to take out my vacation? If we start doing all this stuff like that, yes, it's going to take away from you. You've been stealing any damn way. It's about time somebody woke up and started taking from you.
Right.
Peter to pay Paul, whatever that is. But see, I think like that.
Yeah.
And because I think like that, a lot of people are, they try to move to the left. Like, hold on.
No,
Blake.
you have to have that. Your voice needs to be heard. It has to have that. You can't have people that are just gonna always, like you said, listen, okay, I'm gonna go with the wind. Now we need people to say no, to stand up and like, nah, this is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not bending. So your voice is valuable. You need more people like you that would stand up and not go with them. It's easy to go with.
Yeah,
the
I
flow.
see it happening a lot.
It's easy. You mean it's easy, it's comfortable. That's not the sign. It's when you're out of your comfort zone, when you're uncomfortable and you're doing it, that's what it takes. So we need that. And we need more of that. I just wanted just 2 messages I wanted to give you, right? Maybe you'll know this brother, but this is a brother, because people look up to you, you know what I mean? Just want to let you know you inspire people. And this is one brother you inspired and sent me a message for you, man. It says, Blake has been a huge inspiration for me. Blake has taken his time and energy to get to the deeper realities behind addiction and mental health, just what we were just talking about. So that's someone else seeing the value in what you're doing. Even if it means offering others, even if it means offending others, especially some of those within Blake's beloved recovery community. I respect Blake for being balancedly inquisitive. He is not afraid to share his thoughts and ideas, and Blake is a powerful advocate for the hurt and outcast. Blake is a free thinker. I like that about you, you know what I mean? I like that about anyone, the free thinker, who makes decisions and forms ideas and opinions after deep consideration. I'm happy to have Blake as a friend. You know what that is?
I have an idea.
Marshall.
Yeah.
That's Marshall.
I figured that was him.
Yeah, and then I have this.
Now, you know what? Marshall and I haven't known one another. We were introduced through someone else. Another woman says, Blake, there's somebody that reminds me of you. I said, does he look like me? Because there ain't too many. She started laughing. She's like, no. I'm like, I got to know who this is.
Yeah.
Before she had connected me, he had already looked through my information and saw something that attracted him.
Yeah.
So that's how we became connected.
Yeah, that brother, he came through. He's got to come back through again. He was a good brother when he came through. He is on his own. You know what I mean? Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Here's another
yeah.
brother.
When I first met Blake, it was at the Bridge Recovery Center. I remember I was receiving an award. I had a three-piece suit on with matching shoes, and I remember walking in and him coming up. He's like, "Damn, I like the way you dress, man. I got some of those home." And like he made me feel comfortable, and like we kicked it ever since that day. 2 years ago, I see Blake at meetings, and I would say hello. He would say hello to me. I'd hear him speak. He was a power example in the recovery community already, and I truly believe you are who you surround yourself with. So Blake, people like Blake are the people I choose to surround myself with, because I have a choice on who I surround myself with today. I'm very grateful for having Blake in my life. We exchanged numbers shortly after that day I first met him, and he's been a continuous power of example in my recovery on a day-to-day basis. I love hearing Blake speak on his podcasts. Love his interviews with Mass Ave. Blake travels the country documenting addiction and what it does to people. And I'm truly blessed to have this gentleman in my life.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah, I was just hanging out with him a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brother, yeah. Tell me, brother, yeah, so people, so you know, and I say that, and you know, I'm a fan today, you know what I mean? And that tells you, you know what I mean? Keep pushing, man. You know, I want to let you know, man, you do have some talent. You do have something to offer. You just got to keep pushing it, bro. You know what I mean? And get to the next level where you can really make some noise, man. You know what I mean? And yeah, and you can get there, right?
I'm going to get
You're going to get there, and I'm saying that. Tell me a little bit about the podcasting. What was that about, Blake?
You know, the podcasting originally, my first podcast was in 2013, and it all started because of a controversial comment I made, or inflammatory comment I made, but I meant it because it was the truth.
Yeah.
And the guy says to me, "You know, Blake, we should start a podcast." It was one woman, one guy, two guys, and a other guy. And I said, "What would we call it? Let's call it something crazy. Let's call it something crazy." So we started throwing papers in the hat, pieces in the hat, writing on them. And so...
And just picking them out the hat?
Yeah. So if we pick them out the hat, you know, who's going to vote on what? And they says, "Now let's see what we come up with." So we picked them out the hat. I picked out Ignorant Radio. And so it became the name.
Ignorant Radio?
Ignorant Radio.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Ignorant Radio, well, first of all, one of the guys that was in the podcast also produced two of the anti-racist film that I was in.
Okay.
One of the guys was also an arm wrestler, and he was a jiu-jitsu, or is rather. One of the other guys is he builds homes. The other guy was in the military, and I forget what she.
There's all part of the show?
Us, yeah. So we pulled up, again, throw some in the hat. We pull out, it's your turn, next week it's your turn, next week it's your turn.
Gotcha.
Or whenever our periodic podcast came up. But then life started happening, and, you know, people kind of had to go this way and go that way. And so we stopped, we couldn't continue anymore. And around that time, I started being in television in Boston.
Okay.
Because that same person.
Under the same name?
No, just
Okay.
Boston Neighborhood Network.
Okay.
And the guy his name was Alex E. Edwards. And so he says, "Well, Blake, come on my show, man, because I like how you speak." And then I end up getting my own shows.
Okay.
And from that, but I couldn't keep it up because there was too much going on, you know, traveling from the North Shore to Boston, and I could, you know, so I was like, well, there's no sense to me holding on to something that I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, so I appreciate what I was able to do while I was with it. Then, you know, I started doing my own podcast, you know, and I call that Word. which is an acronym.
That's the word you always, I see it. That was,
Yes,
what's that
it
mean?
means when others respond differently, and that's from my core of cores
Wow.
until the end, because I made a personal commitment to myself that when I August 21st, 03, I'm done. Ain't nothing bringing me back to this. There ain't nothing big enough to bring me back to this. And so when others respond differently, the platform is big enough for everyone. You know,
Yeah.
it's big enough for everyone. So that's how that became.
Good stuff. What's next for Blake? What's your plans? What's next?
Well, what's
We know you're gonna stay clean. We know that.
Yeah, what's next for me is more of the same, more of the same, but also introducing other people involved with that. Because I did mention earlier, there are people that are quiet supporters of mine. They're not as vocal as I am, but they're 100% with me.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, I want to make sure that they are, and they know who they are. One you already mentioned. But I want to make sure that they are part of this next project. Well, the next project is going to be another documentary.
Okay.
I haven't put my finger on that place yet, but it's going to be one of 3 places. And I got the passion for this, man.
No,
I
you
got
can tell,
passion
yeah.
for this. I mean, not only that, but the people that work in that environment. Because when I was in Skid Row talking to the people that work there, and I listened to them, and I'm saying, damn, that work there.
Yeah.
Cops too. People that worked in
It
that
must be
environment.
shocking to know that. Yeah.
So yeah, that's part of what I'm going to do. You know, get I got this fancy drone. You know, the equipment and stuff like that, because I want people to see things that life is happening all the time. You know what I mean? You can't just sit around and hope that something happens. Make it happen. Again, getting out front, getting in their face.
Yeah. Let me ask you, you think
Yes.
most of it, because we have been bombarded with so much, I wouldn't say misinformation, I think, but we've been bombarded to the point where we got desensitized. So now when we see stuff, it doesn't really affect us. Is that your goal, to kind of like, to reintroduce this in a way where we have to, people have to see it
here's
and
the thing.
respond?
If I come into something that I never knew before, then all I know is in your face. But I've used TV as an example. I mean, they show everything now. So obviously we're desensitized now. Every time we see the flat screen or the murder screen, I call it, it's something crazy. We're getting murdered spiritually and emotionally with all the stuff that's going on. So I'm like, well, what part do I play in something to motivate people to get well, I did drugs for a long time, so I'm a recovering person. So let me deal with things in recovery.
Got you. Yeah.
So here's Blake doing his part, with more of the same to come. But as I said, pulling other people involved with it. You know, see, I'm free. A lot of people in recovery aren't free because they're still playing peekaboo with their recovery.
Gotcha.
This is Blake. Period. And it's just who I am. And because I had that type of freedom, can I say what I want to say and feel comfortable saying it? And those that are uncomfortable with it move away or eventually come back when they find their own courage. But those who are with me are with me. So, it's being free to do your thing, man, and play your part in this world of recovery. Because as you said, it's big. It's out there, them pathways, and I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, it is a big movement.
Yeah,
it is big
it
happening.
is.
All right, brother. Yeah, I enjoy having you here. But before I want to give you your time to say whatever you want to say. But before that, I wanted to give you this book. I want everybody to know. Get your gratitude journal. You can get it on Amazon. Plug in my book, man. I want to give that to you, bro. You know me. I appreciate you coming. But yeah, you have the floor is yours. Yeah, talk to the cameras, man. Let them know how you feel. What they,
Well, I've said pretty much everything that I would say if I was sitting down talking to somebody one-on-one or one-on-5 or whatever the case may be. But I'm grateful for the opportunity for those of you that have been looking for a message that can hopefully pull you out of what you're stuck in. Maybe this will help. Maybe this will inspire somebody that's just not there yet, but is there. It's what happened for me. You know, this ain't a big Blake. This is me and everybody else. You know, we're all in this together. I'm just participating and producing my part, which means being active in my recovery. And as some of y'all know, a lot of y'all know, I don't live in a hole in the wall. You know, I live freely. You know, but yeah, that's it. I don't want to over talk.
Again, thank you for coming, my brother.
My man,
Yeah.
word.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys for watching. Get out away from yourself and go help somebody. We walk around daily. We see people who can use our help. We're always trying to help people that already got stuff and they're already in positions, and I get that. But we really need to reach back and help people who are suffering, sick, and who are living hopeless. You know, look for those people, man, and treat them like human beings. Share a little kindness. That's what I ask. You know what I mean? Appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel, man, and share this. Again, thank you, my brother Blake, man. It was nice. It was enjoyable. It was the truth. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. And in closing, I like to say, I love you to Taisha, my daughter, little Darryl, and Zayla. Peace.